Hi, in Italy, it's time for election. As you might know, we are about to vote on a new parliament. In September the 25th, Italians are going to vote, about 7 months earlier than expected, since Mario Draghi's government lost its majority last July. Now, what's expected? Although the chaotic situation after the falling of Draghi's government, every poll seems to show the same scenario. The center-right coalition is expected to get about 45-46% of votes, and therefore to win elections. The most surprising thing is that due to a combination of the elections law, which emphasizes coalitions between parties, and the brand new parliament as a result of the last constitutional amendment, which much few parliamentarians um, than they were 600 now, since they have always been more than 950, the center right coalition is expected to get from 61 to 70% of the seats. So let's take a quick look at the parties, the leaders, and the programs. Let's begin with Fratelli d'Italia, literally Brothers of Italy, which are the first words of our national anthem. This party comes from the Movimento Sociale, social movement, which was the undercover neo-fascist party after the war. It had passed throughout a process of moderation, especially in the 90s and early 2000, until it went under the leadership of Giorgia Meloni, who is the only female leader of a big party in Italy. Meloni inherited a shattered party with 4.4% of votes in last elections. Now, the polls expect she to get the 27% and therefore to be the first party in Italy. How has it been possible? Because Fratelli d'Italia is the only party which did not take part of any government in these years, while any other party has been part of a coalition. Draghi's government had the support of almost every party, and Fratelli d'Italia was the only consistent party that kept the opposition side. This may not be significant for a non-Italian, I assume, but Italians always reward the party that opposed last government, even if led by a valued man such as Mario Draghi. Now, how far right is Fratelli d'Italia? They are, but I should say she is, because up to now this party has been just Giorgia Meloni, and anyone can hardly name one or two other important personality in this party. Anti-immigration, sovereignist, even if apparently loyal to NATO and recently more accommodating with the EU after years of total criticism. Critical about LGBT rights, such as wedding and adoption, supporters of the natural family, which means made of a man and a woman, critical about abortion, although they don't want to dismiss it as a right. This is basically everything we know about this party. It has never been part of a government, even a local one. This is, or in my opinion, it should be, the main critic about Giorgia Meloni. You have no experience at all. So the second party, as Paul say, is Partito Democratico, the Democratic Party, PD. The similarity with American Democratic Party is not a coincidence. They present themselves as the big left party, and like their American twin, they've lost contact with the classic working class and become more the party of intellectuals. They are pro immigration, pro abortion, although in Italy no one really wants to modify the law about it, pro LGBT rights, widely pro EU. Their leader, Enrico Letta, has led a government for about 1 year in 2013, since he was replaced by the new elected PD leader Matteo Renzi, who 3 years ago provoked a split um, in the government, bringing some PD parliamentarians loyal to him in a new party, Italia Viva. We'll talk about it later. The PD, with 20-23% on polls, leads a small coalition. Small means that it's a coalition made of small parties. We will barely pass 3%, that is the electoral threshold. The whole coalition is now estimated at 27.5%. Now, at the third position, there are two parties esteemed at 12%, Matteo Salvini's Lega and the Five Stars movement. Let's begin with the latter. Five Stars movement was born as the anti-system party par excellence. At the very beginning, they were fiercely anti-EU, anti-bankers, anti-globalization. It was the Populist Party who mainly stole votes from the left parties. It is the only party who's been in government since 2018 through three governments: Conte 1, Conte 2 and Draghi. They have a ghost leader, the comedian Beppe Grillo, who rules the party, although he's never been elected by no one. The movement was born from his idea in 2009, and for 10 years the reference on the web of the party has been mainly Beppe Grillo's blog. Nevertheless, Five Star Movement is the most democratic party because every important decision is taken by party members with their online platform. During these 4 years of uninterrupted government, they suffered more than any others for splits and secessions. They have severe internal rules, and applying those, they expelled several parliamentarians. Some months ago, the former head of the party, Luigi Di Maio, led a succession of 16 parliamentarians, the biggest ever seen in Italian Republic. The majority of Five Stars parliamentarians remained loyal to the new party leader, Giuseppe Conte, who led 2 governments and provoked the fall of Draghi's government on July. Now, the Five Star movement has changed since 5 years ago. They are now less anti-system, less severe about the internal rule, less angry since they had to make a lot of compromises in ruling the country throughout a pandemic plus. Despite all the votes lost, they kept a certain consensus mainly on the southern Italy, which is less wealthy. They established a citizen income for millions of Italians and many other bonuses very expensive for the national budget. The refusal of PD to join the Five Star movement in a coalition is probably the cause of the impossibility for the left to win these elections. But the rage for having been the killer of Draghi's government maybe has been too much. And speaking about Draghi's government killers, let's talk about Matteo Salvini's Lega. Lega Nord, Northern League, is the most ancient party in Italy, deeply rooted in populous and rich regions of the northern Italy such as Lombardy and Veneto. It became almost insignificant after a scandal about reimbursement of election expenses. Matteo Salvini took this almost dead party and transformed it from an anti-Southern party to a national anti-immigration party who took many votes even in southern Italy. Matteo Salvini likes to show himself as a popular leader, close to the people, very exposed on the web and in social networks. As member of the government, he showed to be inconsistent, undecided, moody, and widely contradictory. In the first government, he desperately asked for being nominated as interior minister, but once nominated, he barely went to his office. Mainly in the Draghi's government, Salvini has been upstaged by other members of his party. This is probably why he denied the confidence to Draghi's government in July, becoming the real responsible for Draghi's government fall. The other right party, Fratelli d'Italia, has stolen many votes to Salvini's Lega. Now, he's made the most expensive electoral promises about taxes and pensions. This party has now a double nature. The Lega's hardcore, made of politicians such as Giancarlo Giorgetti and Luca Zaia, more bound to the old Lega Nord as an autonomist party, but more expert in policy making, and the Salvinians, new entered people in the party, loyal to Salvini, but with no much more to say. After this election, we will see. Will Salvini be loyal with Giorgia Meloni? Will he accept a secondary role? Or will he make even this government fall, as he did with Draghi last July and with Conte in 2019? Or the hardcore of the party will take the stage and replace him as a leader for having more than halved the votes and for being such inconsistent? Now, there are two more parties to talk about, both quoted about 7%. The first one is Silvio Berlusconi's Forza Italia. There is not much to tell about Silvio, not much new. He's a very rich man with a broadcast empire and a passion for women, to say the least. His party has been the house of the right-side moderates, but joining Salvini's move that made Draghi's government fall, the moderate, the conservative electorate is a bit confused. Plus, Berlusconi appears to be very old. On the 29th September, he will turn 86. Nowadays, he rarely appears in public, mainly on pre-recorded video messages, even on TikTok, where he tells his jokes that he is famous for. Many important members of Forza Italia, literally Go Italy, left to join other parties, Meloni's Fratelli d'Italia and Azione. Azione is the other party quoted at 7%, but I think is about to pass Forza Italia. The party, literally Action, is led by Carlo Calenda, a former businessman from the high Roman bourgeois. His mother is the movie director Cristina Comencini. He shows himself as the main fan of Mario Draghi, and he basically says, I would make everything Draghi would do. For this thing is seen from moderate electorate to an interesting alternative to Berlusconi's party. Azione needed a partner and so joined Matteo Renzi's Italia Viva, Italy Alive. This is Matteo Renzi, with the common purpose to steal votes, mainly from Berlusconi. This union, called Terzo Polo, Third Pole, as the force of the political placement, since moderate conservative electorate traditional majority in Italy has now no political house. But these two leaders, Carlo Calenda and Matteo Renzi, are known to be two prima donnas, backstabbing and ready to undo every deal for political convenience. So, their political union appears to be quite unstable. And then there are some little parties joined in coalitions or going by themselves. Verdi plus Sinistra Italiana, Green Party plus Italian Left, who are allied with PD. They are the most similar to a traditional Italian left. And then there is Plus Europa, More Europe, Più Europa, a party led by Emma Bonino, a long-standing politician, anti-prohibitionist and philo-EU, She is known for her severe health problems, and anyone asks what will be this party if she dies. And then Italexit, a party born from a split of the Five Star Movement, who mainly want Italy to leave the EU as UK did. And Noi Moderati, we have no photo. Yes, we the moderate ones, a party born from some renegades of Forza Italia, who is now allied with Fratelli d'Italia, Lega, and Forza Italia. These four parties, except maybe Verdi plus Sinistra Italiana, have spare possibilities to overcome 3% threshold and to get parliamentarians. Perhaps some senator, because the Senate base is regional. So, according to the polls and projections, the left poll, the right poll, Fratelli d'Italia, Lega, Forza Italia, and Noi Moderati, just in case they can make it, will get from 61 to 70 seats. That is unprecedented in Italy. It would be enough to assure a stable government, but who knows? In Italy, often parties change their idea. What is for granted is the new Presidente del Consiglio, President of the Council of Ministers, will inherit an heavy job between the war, the lacking of gas, the growth of prices, and many European projects to be finished in order to be paid. Draghi has achieved every goal in his European project, the Next Generation EU, and provided billions of euros for Italy. Will the new Prime Minister, maybe Giorgia Meloni, live up Draghi's government? We will see. Thank you, everyone, and good election to everyone.